I got admits from Cornell, Carnegie Mellon, Purdue, and University of Illinois, USC, and Northeastern.
The biggest can of worms when it comes to that, from what I hear, is of course, the statement of purpose.
Your SOP should be really very fancy. It should have a lot of buzzwords.
Did you leverage generative AI for your SOPs? Can you touch on the GRE versus GMAT?
Study enough won't help. You really need to do mock tests, analyze your test scores again and again, and it increases your chances to getting into your dream university. 15 minutes before my interview started, I received a case study from my interviewer through mail.
What is that golden number of hours you put in for the GRE? Welcome to the Ready Set Do podcast, where we learn from journeys of not experts who are just 2 steps ahead of us. I'm Naman Pandey, and in this episode, featured not expert is Unnati Deshwal. Unnati is a fresh engineering management student at Cornell University, which is of course an Ivy League school. At the risk of trivializing Unnati's experience and profile, I always thought it was borderline impossible to get into an Ivy League program unless you have some freak top 1% profile and or the best work experience from the best companies in the world. However, as it turns out, to my surprise, even if you have a rather academic profile, you can still get into an Ivy League school provided you play to your strengths. Now, if that is vague to you, that is exactly what Unnati walks us through in this episode, from preparing for the GRE to crafting a solid statement of purpose to shortlisting universities. Indeed, this one episode is a complete masterclass for master's degree applications to US schools. In keeping with our theme of learning from somebody that's just 2 steps ahead of us instead of an expert, my goal with this episode is to highlight Unnati's unique experience that led her to Cornell and what you can learn from it to get your own admit. This is the Ready Set Do podcast, and to support it, please subscribe to the channel and or leave me up to a 5-star rating on Spotify. And now, without any further ado, my friends, here's Unnati. If a year ago from now, somebody had told you that you will have admits to potentially all of your dream universities in the US, what would you have told them?
It was really a surprise, I could say, that what all universities I applied, I got in. Of course, I did had my set of rejects, but still the number was much more than I ever anticipated. So I'm really happy with the overall results.
Talk me through a little bit about what was going on a year ago. So, what your profile was, what you were doing for work, and just kind of a very quick and dirty snapshot of your profile. That you leveraged to get all of these really cool and amazing admits.
So I had a pretty normal profile, I would say. I did my BTech from a normal private college in computer science engineering with specialization in big data analytics. I always wanted to have a bit of edge from other peers, and also that's why I took big data analytics, because that time it was a big boom. Then after that, I got some chance as to hold positions like chairperson at Association for Computing Machinery for Women. I mean, basic student chapter and school college clubs. Wanted to try my hand on leadership as well. So that. Then I got an opportunity to work with Dell. I was selected as a software engineer, as a summer intern, and from there on, I got my PPO convert, and I worked for almost 2 years at Dell. So that has been my basic, journey till now as a fresher.
That's very interesting for a couple, different reasons. The biggest being that I know, like including myself, a lot of people that have a very similar experience to yourself find it very difficult to not only navigate the entire application process, but also obviously to, get those admits. So I kind of want to deep dive into your entire process and, really help anybody that's out there, looking to walk the path that you walk. Successfully or not is not in their hands. The best they can do is apply, but hopefully apply in a way that, maximizes their chances for approval or acceptance. So can you start with what was the first thing you did? So let's start at the point where you decided you wanted to do a master's in the US. How did you go about doing things from that point? I assume you maybe figured what you wanted to study, or did that come later?
Yeah. So I think first of all, I decided what course I want to pursue. I always wanted to not let go of my engineering roots, although I was interested in the management sector, but I didn't wanted to let go of my engineering roots. I wanted to be in the technical sector, and I wanted a bit of visibility to other functional teams as well while being in the technical domain. So I decided MEM was the perfect course for me, with the eligibility of 0 to 2 years of work. Of course, you can have much more than that as well, but the perfect timeline is there. So I thought that this course would really hit me through. So that is the first point where I decided that MEM is the right course for me. I can get it through. I have the right work ex. I have the right technical aspects. I want to deep dive into a bit more into the technical thing, but also learn more about the business acumen, get some managerial skills and all. So that was the first thing. Afterwards, I think afterwards I decided which universities I really want to apply to. So there were three domains on which I actually segregated my list of universities. First was my dream university. I chose three dream universities and I had put them aside. Then I took three medium universities and three safe universities. So in total, I applied to 9 universities based on, people can have different, ways to compare universities, whether it be their dream, medium, or safe universities. My personal aspect was regarding the course ranking, university ranking, the curriculum that they were offering, what all placements sell, and what are the other aspects to after I complete the course. So that is how I segregated the universities, and finally I got 6 admits from the total 9 universities I applied to. So that was in basic, like the overline of it.
That makes sense. Can you, sorry, real quick, sorry to interrupt. Can you walk me through the resources that you use to figure out, the specs that you mentioned for each of these universities? Are they just available online? Is it as simple as just Googling, or are there any specific resources
Yes,
that you
yes,
found
definitely.
particularly helpful around?
Yes, yes, definitely. You can Google it. You can see a lot of YouTube videos. You can also talk to your seniors who are already in some universities that you are planning to go to. I personally talked to some of my seniors who were already placed there and were working for quite some time now. And after I have figured out what course I am interested in, what universities I want to apply to, the next thing was figuring out what is the basic requirements that the university asks. So whether they require any kind of exams to go about it. For now, in general, the universities have made GRE exam as optional, but some universities do require it as compulsory. So I plan to first of all take all my exams so I can keep it aside and can move forward with the application process, the preparation of the artifacts, and all of the other things. So first of all, I think being organized is the really key to it. You really need to plan your time beforehand. When you are going to give your exam, you need to have some buffer time as well. If you don't score that much in the exam, then if you want to retake the exam, or you want enough time to prepare the artifacts and all of that stuff, so you really need to plan your time out. I think that really makes a difference. So I plan to take a GRE exam because two of the university, my targeted university, had it required, and also for the university that had it optional, I thought it will actually reflect my genuine interest for the university. So I thought I'll provide with a score. I'll give the exam. I'll take that pain, and I'll do that. So I gave the exam, and if we talk about exam, what resources or anything that I used, um, I would say GregMat is the best thing. So
I
it's like
see.
a $5 subscription per month. Yes. So there are different ways you can actually use that. You can use monthly. You can take 2 month subscription. You can do it self-paced as well. I personally took a 2 month course, which was $5 per month, which is, I mean, a decent amount to spend for a quality like that they are offering. Greg Matt, in general, I mean, people who are preparing for the GRE and all must be knowing he's a well-known name in the GRE community. He prepares all the materials and everything himself. So it was a good thing for me. It really helped me. So I'll suggest that to the all the prospective students.
Yeah, that
So
sounds good. And Is it just unlimited? Can you attempt or practice an unlimited number of questions each month, or is there a cap to how much you can access each?
I mean, there is a cap. He has designed the course like that, that for each day he has defined these numbers, this portion you have
Okay,
to
I see.
complete. Yes. So you don't really have to worry how much portion I have to complete in a day. If I'm going too slow, if I'm going too fast, you really have to just follow whatever is designed for a day,
That's
and you
awesome.
have to
I
complete.
did not
Yes.
know this existed. Yeah, that sounds so
Yes,
amazing.
yes. So it's very easy. You do not have to put a lot of brain to it. You just have to do what is assigned for a day. You have to, see the videos, attempt the course materials, mock test, and all that. Apart from that, I used OG as well, which is the official guide by ETS for
Yeah,
GRE. It has a lot of
yeah,
question
that's
bank and
just
all.
evergreen. I
Yes,
use
yes,
that
yes.
also.
Yeah, yes. So I think those question sets are really amazing, and I cannot stress enough on the fact that study enough won't help. I mean, alone studying won't help. You really need to do mock tests. You really need to analyze your test scores again and again. You really check through that, in which direction you are going, which section you need to, really improve. And I think, yeah, that will do the trick. I
How
mean,
many hours were you, yeah, how many hours were you spending studying? Because I'm assuming at the time you must have had your job as well. So what's a good number of hours to spend for those 2 months? That's one is, going about preparing.
yes. So as a full time employee at Dell, so that time it was a bit difficult to manage studies with a full time job. So what I really used to do was that after my work hours, I used to put in 3 to 4 hours to study every day.
Boy,
Yeah, I mean, you have to really, take that kind of pain if you really want that score. And during Saturdays and Sundays, I used to stretch even a bit more because weekends were off. So that is how I used to do. I would say consistency is the key, honestly. Not every day you will be able to put in 3 to 4 hours. Some days it will be 2 hours, some days it will be 1 hour, some days it will be more than. But you really don't have to, lose your contact with the material. You have to see the verbal and vocab every day.
absolutely. And yeah, I can relate to that in terms of that's, I went about it in a similar way. I was also employed when I was preparing. What I'm trying to get at, Unnati, is what is that golden number of hours that we can maybe come to together to recommend to students that if you put in these number of really dedicated, focused hours, you will likely be good for the GRE. So you said you're doing 3 to 4 hours on the weekdays. So for 2 months, so that would be, let's do some, I guess, quick math here. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 times, let's say, 4 is 160. And then you said how many every weekend?
It will be like, I mean, 5 to 6 hours, I think. Yeah.
Okay, let's just take five, and there's eight
Yeah.
weekend days, so 40. So you're saying a total of 200 hours, give or take, would be closed for somebody to start feeling comfortable in for the GRE. Is that right or not really?
I think it really depends on where at which stage you are. So I really recommend my friends and peers also who had asked me for tips for the exam that before even starting preparing for the exam, just take a mock test, see where you stand, right? So you
I love
just do
that.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, you do not start preparing for the exam just on day zero. You take an exam, you see where you stand, you analyze the score where you really need to work hard. I think my verbal, I thought that, at one point of time I was feeling it was getting diluted. So I wasn't able to score a bit more than, so I had to put in a bit more efforts than it. Quant was pretty decent for me, but it can be different for different people. So you really need to analyze your test scores that way and see where you stand, how much hours do you need to put in. So it depends for every person.
I see. Especially around the verbal section, do you have any particular tips or tricks that you remember that really helped? Or was it mostly just, as you said before, following along with the plan that the, Greg Matt course had and just really doing that? Because I know a lot of students specifically struggle with the verbal section. So I personally found that there were definitely ways to hack it. I used to study those flashcards that you have an app for that, I think. Back in the day, at least, you used to. So I used to look at those, and I would find that the same words would appear, later in the tests and wherever. So any verbal specific tips that you can share for us?
I think the only main reason actually took Brett Matt classes was because his verbal was really strong. I mean, the tricks that were in the course, like, as you have said, flashcards, and there are different tricks and tips that he shares to really remember those kind of vocabulary, because GRE vocabulary is really difficult. Quant is still pretty easy for us Indians. It's still easier to crack, but verbal somehow it becomes a bit to work on. So I think yeah, I mean, if you follow what he really says and all, you will be able to get a good score, I would say.
Makes sense. And can you touch on the GRE versus GMAT aspect just a little bit? Is that something you considered, or is it still the gold standard for anything related to engineering masters? You do GRE. Anything that's more business related, you do GMAT. I know for MEM it's a bit tricky because it's both. So, did you at all spend any time around picking which test to take?
So no, actually, I already researched about what university, asked for, for exams and everything. It was mostly GRE only. So I decided upon taking GRE exam only. Mostly MEM, MISM, all these, engineering management courses, they ask for a GRE course only. And I think most of the business courses also nowadays are switching to that exam. So I think GRE is always a safe option to give.
I see. Yeah. So thanks for that amazing deep dive around the GRE. I think that was really helpful, hopefully, for anybody listening and considering taking the test. I now kind of want to jump forward just a little bit around the aspect of the actual applications. The biggest can of worms when it comes to that, from what I hear, is of course, the statement of purpose. So, what can you tell us about your process of writing your statement of purpose? Clearly, and I guess for those uninitiated, it is an extremely, probably the one of the most important aspects of your application. And a lot of your admits will straight up come down to how good or bad your statement of purpose is. So I feel like there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of people don't exactly understand what you have to do. Like, am I just boasting on it about all the stuff that I've done in my entire life? Am I just, writing flashy, flowery English words? So yeah, what's your process for, a good SOP?
So I think the first and most important point about a good SOP, it shouldn't be generic at all. So a lot of people, what they do is they prepare one SOP and they copy paste it and just submit it for every other university. But that is now how it should be. It should be tailored according to the university prompts or ask for requirements that the university has asked in their application process. So whenever you are submitting your application or creating your application page and all, so there is always some kind of prompts given by the university regarding the ask, or some information which will help you with your SOP, right? What they are really asking for. Also, again, important point, it should be tailored according to the university. Do your thorough research about the university, what really excites you about the university, how you can add value to it, how the every university is different in their own way. So try to inculcate that in your SOP. Show your genuine and true interest when you're applying, when you are creating the SOP, that you are genuinely interested to apply to the university and you really want to, just get the admission, you really want to do the coursework. So it should reflect that. So I think one point is that. And I think one another thing that people misinterpret a lot is that your SOP should be really very fancy, it should have a lot of buzzwords, but it's not like that. I think the main purpose of SOP is to get some points cleared, like why you want to do your master's degree from that university. It should clear those points, why that particular course, how you are going to contribute to the university. So all these major points, it should just, it should be a simple story. It shouldn't be very fancy and all. It can be a simple and crisp story, and it can show your yeah.
Can you walk us through exactly what your, like, how you chose to go about answering that question around why you want to study engineering management? Because the problem that I personally ran into with that was So I was working in tech also. I wanted to not write code and I wanted to start managing other engineers. So that was my true reason for wanting to do MEM. What I did not know was how to translate that to writing. So if you give us an example of how you kind of did that for yourself, I think that would be really helpful for the.
I think I really did try to explain my life journey and what was exactly the turning point where I felt this course would really help me take it to the next level. Right. So you can really start with the most basic thing, that why did you even start, why did you even want to pursue an engineering degree? Let's start with. So start with the basic, try to inculcate your thoughts, make a storyline out of it. Try to think, why did you even at the first point wanted to do an engineering degree? Then go about what was your experience, what was your life journey, where did you work, what, I don't know, for example, like what student club really probably hit that point that you really thought that you have those skills which the course really requires, which the program really requires. So I mean, go about like that. Because you have to just explain your original self, like what was the turning point. If your original self says that you didn't want to do code, and some engineering managers what they do really excites you, try to say that in as simple as.
I see. So authenticity is really what you're saying is what one should focus on, and really owning up to their very specific requirements on why they want to do a certain thing and stick to that. Avoid genericism. Speaking of generic writing, did you leverage generative AI at all for your SOPs, and is that something you would recommend?
No, no, I don't think I would recommend that at all. Again, like I've said before, your SOP shouldn't, if you think your SOP should have really fancy words, a lot of buzzwords, should be really perfect. No, nothing like that. I think authenticity, originality is something they are looking for. They really want to look what you as a person are. What is really your purpose? What are your personal and professional goals? And how do they really align with the university? So these are some key factors which the university is really looking in the candidate, and try to, put that. So I don't think any AI can really help to tell your original story to anyone. Only you can do that. So yeah.
That's fair. I guess the way I was thinking about it is, so say I have all that information in my head, and for whatever reason, I'm not maybe the best at writing in English, or haven't been exposed to the most highest level of literature there is. So would I would it be so bad if I used ChatGPT to just translate what I want to convey into sentences that I want to submit later? Or do you think even that runs into the risk of being generic? Just I would just be found out, so to say.
I mean, if in your head you want to get some, influenced, or you want to get some kind of, I mean, if you want to get some kind of an idea, I mean, you can do that, but don't try to, submit that kind of content
Mm,
to the university, because that is high risk, I would say. So
for
I
sure.
wouldn't recommend. Yes.
Makes sense. And then were there any, I guess, similar to the last question, were there any resources that you used that you found helpful? Maybe any sample SOPs that you found online that are available for public usage that helped, or were you mostly just working off of your own accord?
So I think online, I really used to just see that what really a university is looking in a candidate. When they are looking at any SOP, what are they really looking for? So I think I really used to jot down those points. I really used to keep my head straight and really look on what the university has provided for prompts and all. So that way I try to form an outline for my SOP. I mean, it's a lot of work. See, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
I was just gonna say,
Once
yeah.
you'll start, but once you'll start after writing, rewriting, and again, I think you will get it right. It's not a big work if you really want to put your thoughts.
I remember when I was, working on my SOP, I used to spend. So this was after my GRE, everything was done. I was very dangerously close to the deadlines, and I was applying for spring, so I only had like one deadline to work with. And I remember spending a couple hours straight for a couple weeks without any progress. I would just stare at, a blank Google Doc, and then when like
I really do understand. Yeah.
And it was just so funny. Exactly. Yeah. So after doing that for 2 weeks, one night at randomly at 2 a.m., I was like, this is it. This is now or never. And I wrote the whole thing, which had revisions. Like it had a decent amount of revisions after that, but that was my, first and only major progress that I made. So yeah, you just got me reminiscing just a little bit.
Yes.
Having gone over the SOP aspect of it, I know there's other stuff as well with the application process, such as tracking deadlines, maybe LORs, and I know some universities have specifically technical letters or other random ad hoc things that they want. So, what can you tell us about all of the other things that you did outside of the?
So, letter of recommendations really is very important. I think you really need to keep, again, I've said that you have to be a very organized, you have to keep your time and really talk to people who can really vouch for you. So, if you're a working professional, I would really say that, out of the three LORs, two of them can be from, from where you are working. It can be from, interfunctional teams, or it can be your own manager, or, someone who can really have seen you working. Those LORs, talk to the people, ask them, tell them about your personal professional goals, what you're really planning to do, and ask them if, they can write a letter of recommendation for you. So you really need to have that kind of time in your hand to talk and just ask them to give you a letter of recommendation for your work, for whatever work you have done. And so because they are the live witness for, who have seen you work and everything, so it really plays an important role from whom you're getting your letter of recommendation. This is one of the most important factors in the application process as well. The other thing, I forgot what you were saying.
Yeah, the like so some universities have specific outside of SOPs,
Yes.
technical letters or any other ad hoc requirements. So if you could speak to.
Yes. So if I specifically talk about Cornell, so they were asking about technical statement. Technical statement, if I'll tell you, it's just they really want to see as a person how you can easily describe any technical topic or a concept to a person who really doesn't have any knowledge to it. So it doesn't have to be like, very technical, or it has to be something really out of the world, or something you have to write about machine learning or something like that, latest technology or something. Nothing. They just want to judge your ability to explain any technical statement, or any technical concept to any person who really doesn't have any knowledge about it. So how easily you can explain any new technology, any all of that to a normal person. So that is the whole point
So are
of
you
it.
given a prompt?
Yes, yes, definitely you are given a prompt. I mean, they really ask you what they are looking for in the technical statement. I'll also say that really attend universities sessions. I mean, before even their application process starts, I mean, their deadlines are about to come. They do have some Q&A sessions and all. Do plan to join them. So because they really do speak about all these documents that they're looking for, what they're really looking for in a candidate. I mean, these points also really help a lot when you're drafting your statements and all that.
Absolutely. And just so I have more context on this, what exactly was the prompt that Cornell?
So I really don't remember very specifically, but it was just that
Okay.
I think they were, yeah, I mean, asking for a technical statement. There was a word limit given. And in general, the prompt can be, they have told that it can be any, research paper that you have written, or any technical concept that you
Okay,
have
I see.
explained, or anything. I mean, they really just want to judge how easily you can showcase your technical abilities. You can talk about all that.
And then, so from there, can you talk a little bit about interviews? Because I know some universities have interviews for MEM admission specifically. So, what is the best way to prepare for those? What are some questions one can expect? And what your experience was like with those?
Yeah. So some universities will, ask. in their application process only to give a video interview. So that is part of the application process. It's like a video interview that will be recorded through your laptop screen. And once you hit the record button, there'll be 2 to 3 questions that will prompt on your screen, and you have to talk about them in a stipulated time. So that
I
that
think
is
Duke
what
does
really
this,
happened.
right?
Yes. Duke does this, and it was Illinois as well this time who has done it. So there were a couple of universities who did this. Otherwise, for universities who don't do this in their application process itself, what really happens is that after you submit the application and it has been selected, you'll get an interview mail. So what really happens in the interview is that it's a set of basic behavioral questions that are asked. Questions like it'll only last for 15 to 20 minutes. It's a very know and how kind of an interview. It's not like an interview you'll feel. It's just a basic know and how. They'll ask you about why you want to pursue this particular course or program in this university, what really excites you, what kind of contributions can you make to the university, what are your personal professional goals. Questions like what are the roles that you're seeking after you complete the course from the university. I mean, basic questions like what are they really want to understand you as a person, honestly. So at least for Purdue, these were the questions, and for Cornell as well. But Cornell, from this year, they started with a case study interview as well.
Wow.
I mean, yes, 15 minutes before my interview started, I received a case study from my interviewer through mail. And I had 15 minutes to basically read all the case study. It was a basic case study material from a Forbes article, I think it was, on IT development plan. So it can be anything. I mean, it was just an article at the end of the day. So I had to
How
really
long
go
was it?
through it. I mean, you can easily read it in 10 minutes. It won't even take you 15 minutes. Easily, it'll be over. It was a small article only, and then after my interview started, after those 15 minutes reading time was over, there were a set of questions for 5 to 7 minutes, on based on
The case
based
study.
on based on the case study. Yes. So yeah, based on the case study, there were questions 5 to 7 minutes. Basic questions. It can be qualitative questions. It can be quantitative questions. Basic set of questions. What you have learned from that case study. So that is that. And then it was some basic set of behavioral questions. So again, why Cornell? Yeah, what really excites you to join Cornell? So I think those were some basic questions asked. It's a very easy interview process.
And did you? Okay, yeah. So that was just going to be my question. Did you go about specifically preparing for that case study, or is it something that if you're confident and smart and can apply yourself, you will probably not have too many issues with clearing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal, honestly. But if you really want to go through, you can go through online. You can see, I mean, any content regarding how to deal with a case study, what kind of questions can be asked, and all. There are a lot of materials online to go about it. But for me personally, it was the first time, so I really didn't know what to go about, what to study, and all. In general, what all I prepared for my campus interviews during my time as an undergraduate, I had gone through that kind of training, that kind of
Right.
revision only.
Yeah.
But in general, it's very normal. It's very easy, nothing to worry about, and you'll be able to crack it very easy.
That is good to know. So, I know we've covered a very decent amount of material around the entire application process itself. And before we move to the next, segment of this, at least this podcast, did you have any call outs about that process that maybe we did not touch on, but you would like to highlight? Just want to kind of leave the floor open in case there's anything we missed.
I think one important thing would be, I mean, I'll just extend that organization, being organized thing only. First of all, it's very important to make a list of the universities that you're applying to. After that, I mean, you really need to figure out what will be the deadlines. Right. I mean, I really recommend applying to first round of deadlines only. I mean, it increases your chances to getting into
Yeah,
your dream university and all.
absolutely.
Yes. So I think you should really plan your time accordingly if you want to apply to the first round of deadlines. And be very organized regarding what the university's ask is. So every university has a different ask, different materials that they're asking for. Some might require a combination of SOP, personal history statement, resume, other technical statements and all, and some might ask one or two of it. So really be prepared to make that kind of chart, or just note it down somewhere. When is the deadline, which university, and yeah, all of that.
I think that's a great call out, Unnati. I feel like even somebody, if they can have like a rough project plan going on Excel, literally just 4 or 5 columns, university name, deadline, and what stage of the application they're currently at, like SOP submitted, GRE scores submitted, etc. Yeah, I think that's a great call out in that it will go long.
Preparing for 8 to 9 universities, I mean, that time you really need to see
Exactly.
everything.
Cool, love that. So next I want to jump into, so prepare, or like let's pretend that somebody is in your shoes. We applied to a few bunch of places, got admits from a bunch of places, hopefully. And what are some factors that you looked at while deciding where you're deciding to go, which is Cornell? And admittedly, that question feels a bit flat because obviously a Cornell admit kind of helps, not
To
have
make
there be
things
too
more
much
clear.
confusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe if we were to just kind of pretend for this thought exercise that you hadn't gotten Cornell and had just, a few very obviously very decent, very good universities, what are some factors that you were looking at in terms of deciding where you want to end?
I think one of the important factors to really look up to is what kind of course or curriculum you are going to study for that program or course. Some universities offer a very quant heavy program. So, do you really want to deep dive into quant, or you want it more in the managerial aspect? So, you really need to check the university's website. I cannot stress this enough that you really need to check university's website. You really need to do your own research and see what the university has to offer you for the course or the program that you're applying to. If the course really sets right with your personal and professional goals. So for Cornell, I mean, apart from being a brand and everything, of course, there were some factors like make your own track. There's like, there are a lot of specializations that are offered in the Cornell curriculum where I can choose from a set of different specializations like business analytics, like strategy, like product management, like other tech consultancy. I mean, there are a lot of things to choose from. So I really knew that I can choose 2 to 3 tracks from this, and I know where I really want to head to. And I wanted that kind of customization to my program where I can build my own track. So I think that is one of the key factors. So you really need to check the what the course has to offer to you. So I think that will be one point. The other point will be location, definitely, where you want to really based out of, because there are universities that are based in college towns, some are based out in cities. So where you are really looking to spend that time, and also if you're applying for jobs and all after your course is done, so you will be based out somewhere around that location. So you really need to take that point into account as well.
And the weather probably, right? Also, uh, given we come from India, because obviously I went to Indiana, which is really cold, and I don't think I'll ever actually get used to the cold of the Midwest because I've lived in Indiana and then in Chicago, which is arguably worse in terms of weather. So, but yeah, love both of those call outs. Is the duration of course at all a factor you consider?
Yeah. I mean, definitely that also matters a lot. Again, it depends what are your personal and professional goals. I mean, most of the universities you'll see has a program duration for 1 to 1.5 years, if I'm not wrong, right, for 15 months and all. But for Cornell, the course is really short. So it's 9 month program. Of course, you can extend it to 12 months as well, but then it's not very pocket friendly, I can say. So mostly students choose the 9 month track. The 9 month track really means that it's going to be a academically very hectic. So it's going to be really hectic. So if you're really looking for that, you are okay to juggle your academics and other things. Yeah, it's that. But one thing to look forward is, again, you can go into the job market much earlier than other students. So it really just depends, like what are your personal and professional goals after the course is over, or what you're really looking in the course.
For Cornell specifically, do you have a course, curriculum kind of in mind that you're at least interested in from the outset? I know that can change once you're here and once you see things in
Yes.
person. But I'm just curious to understand if what in your head is kind of some of the courses that you're looking forward to taking or, that really appeal to you.
So I am really looking forward for product management and strategy. I think that really excites me. So I'm really looking forward to deep dive into these kind of subjects. I mean, of course, I am really open to other things as well. I'm not making my head up that I'll be doing this only. It can change over time. But yeah, I mean, when you have so many choices to choose from, it really is a good thing. You know where you can explore a lot, and it's a good thing only. So yeah, I mean, those choices I've given.
And I guess just to tie the loop on this particular segment, do you mind going over all the places that you had admits from? I'm just trying to see.
Yeah, so I got admits from Cornell, then it was Carnegie Mellon for the MISM program, then I had admits from Purdue, then University of Illinois, USC, and Northeastern. So there were 6
Got
admits.
it. I see. And did you, so I guess if you had to rank them in terms of, if not Cornell, I'm very curious to understand where you would have gone. If not,
Okay. So I think I was really inclined towards Purdue because the core program is really strong. So as a university and the course offering, and of course the core program is one of the strongest offering from Purdue. So it was really a great choice. And also, I mean, in terms of finances as well, it's really easy to manage Purdue as compared to other universities.
interesting. That's actually really, fascinating the way you thought about that because,
Yes.
yeah, ROI is obviously probably the biggest,
Yes,
consideration
definitely.
that a person makes. But yeah, it
And
just
for
depends on
international
each
student,
person's
it
situation.
really, I mean, for
Yeah.
international student, it really is important for the ROI, because not everyone will be going on their own. There are other finances and things to be taken care of. So yeah, definitely.
And just out of curiosity, I'm sure you've been keeping up with the, potential or alleged economic slowdown in the US in terms of jobs not being available to that, booming extent as they are normally. So did you, I'm sure you're aware, so did you spend any time worrying about that? Or I'm just curious to understand your mindset around, how you're planning to deal with all of that uncertainty once.
I mean, I really do understand. Even I'm uncertain about what is going to happen after I graduate, but I'm not really, getting that on my head. For now, this is like, this is my first international trip, you can say. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to learn. I'm going to a university where many people dream to go. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that till now. I don't want to worry a lot about what is going to happen in the future. So let's just
I
hope
think that's
things
smart.
go
Yeah.
about right. Yes. And I think Cornell has a really good alumni network as well. Hopefully, I'll make some great connections. Let's see.
I'm sure you will. There is no doubt in my mind that you will. And just, as a last question, how are you going about preparing for your, potentially the biggest move of your life that you will ever make?
Yeah.
Uprooting your entire life, having lived in India your entire life, now you will be living somewhere else. Probably not knowing anybody in the whole city, state, even, who knows. What are some, items on your checklist that are particularly, curious?
So, I mean, the place where I'm going to, Ithaca, New York, when it's cold, it's really cold. We have 4 seasons there. So I'm taking, a lot of clothes for summers, but of course for winters I'm going to, buy there only some set of utensils
That's
where,
smart.
as Indian student, you really have to cook, and as vegetarians as well, you don't really get good food. So you have to be
Yeah.
prepared for cooking. So, some basic
I will say New
utensils.
York is the best place you can be as a vegetarian. So at least you have that going.
Is it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Compared to, yeah, because it's such a, metropolitan city, compared to some other places like the Midwest or, student towns, you will find way more vegetarian options there. So you have that going for you for sure.
Fingers crossed. Everything falls into place. Yeah. But yeah, as students, you have some budget issues and tight finances and all. So definitely I'm ready to cook, and also basic utensils and stuff, and medicines, of course, because what will happen there. So some basic medicine checklist and all. I mean, yeah, these basic stuff.
Makes sense. Do you have housing figured out already?
Yeah. So after I got admit from Cornell, uh, seniors at Cornell only made a group, and we were able to connect with other students who were in our city, and with whom we can actually sync our flights and go about. You really don't have to go do that alone, so it was a good thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and once those groups were set, and based on your preferences and everything, people made smaller groups and decided to go about house hunting. So everything happened online only, and it was a really easy process. Yeah, we talked to our seniors, and also it was easy, pretty decent process. Yeah.
That's so great. I mean, yeah, that just what great seniors to have. I never
I
had
mean,
any of this. I was just out there on Facebook groups, thinking about, is this person real? Is this a scam? What is does this building even
no, I
exist?
understand.
Um,
Yeah. I mean,
but
I
it
have
would
been
have been nice to
also.
have seniors.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have seniors, go on LinkedIn, see who is where, and just write a cold, probably put a cold email or just text them, and you'll hear from them. They are really helpful, and you'll hear from them definitely. I think this was what I also opted for.
Yeah. Again, I wish I had known that at the time. But if I ever speak with somebody, or hopefully for everybody watching, guys, please reach out to people. You don't have to figure everything out yourself. More people are willing to help you than you can even imagine. So
Yes.
yeah, as they say, closed mouths don't get fed. So always ask for help, and you will most likely, get it. Um, with that, Unnati, I really want to thank you for taking the time today and walking us through your entire, journey up until this point. And I'm sure you get this a lot, and please don't be mad, but I'm sure you will do a lot of Unnati once you're here in the States, and even beyond, and in your entire career. So really looking forward to staying connected, and watching you grow, and your, following your journey in the States.
Thanks a lot, Naman, for having me.
That brings us to the end of episode 26 of the Ready Set Do podcast. Thank you all for sharing these episodes with those that continue to benefit from them. If you would like to support me, the easiest way to do that is by subscribing to the channel and or leaving me up to a 5-star rating on Spotify. For any feedback and or guest suggestions to the podcast, please comment on the YouTube video, and well, really also, if you just want to share anything that you liked or didn't like from the episode, please do comment. I read every comment. It makes my day, and it makes doing this all worth it. Catch you all in the next one. New episodes every Wednesday.